So with 74, we have y equals natural log of 11x in absolute value divided by x to the 8th power. Okay, so let me talk a little bit about something like this. So remember the absolute value definition. The absolute value definition is x for x greater or equal to 0, negative x for x less than 0. And how does this affect, because this is important.
You're still sharing your screen.
I'm sorry, let me start from the beginning. So this was the problem, and we're asked to differentiate this function. And it has the absolute value inside, absolute value of 11x. Okay, so first I want to talk a little bit about this, and then I'll come back to this in a few minutes. I just need to explain a few things. Number one, the formal definition of the absolute value. It's x when x is greater than or equal to 0, or negative x when x is less than 0. Now, how will this affect natural log x? Well, it will have two options. If this piece has two options, this function has two options. What are they? So natural log of the absolute value of x will be either natural log x for x greater than 0. I cannot put 0 inside natural log. Or natural log of negative x for x less than 0. So now, what happens when I differentiate? And then I'll come back to that. When I differentiate natural log of the absolute value of x, I have, of course, two options, because the function has two options, at least initially. This is 1 over x for x greater than 0, but this is different, is 1 over negative x times the inner function prime when x is less than 0. And look what happens. It will be the same. So I only have one option as 1 over x for anything but 0. Okay? So, of course, if I have 11 in here, I will have 11 in here, and 11 in here. It's not going to make any difference. And 11 in here. Right? Because I also have to differentiate the inner function. So now I can go back to that. So keep that in mind, because in the next chapter, we're going to talk about this again. I didn't want to talk about it in this chapter because it's just, I think it's too much, but since you asked, why not? Let me unplug this. Okay. Perfect. So now this is my page 4. So the next is we are differentiating the function x to negative 8 times natural log of 11x in absolute value. You can keep it as a fraction, you can change it into a product, it doesn't matter. You'll get the same answer. So then y prime will be this function prime, I bring down negative 8, and I subtract 1 from the power. I keep this unchanged, plus I keep x to negative 8, and now I differentiate this, which we already know what it is. So if the natural log of absolute value of x is 1 over x, the natural log of 11x in absolute value will be 1 over 11x, right, times the inner function prime. So it's still going to be 1 over x. So let me write it here. Natural log of 11x in absolute value prime will be, and then I'll put it here, will be 1 over 11x times the inner function prime. So this is 1 over x. So that's what I have here, 1 over x. Yes, I'm going to clean it up a little bit. And from here, let's see, I have negative 8 natural log of 11x divided by x to the 9th. And here I have plus 1 over x to the 9th. So if you want to write it again, I'm going to put negative 8 natural log of 11x and then plus 1, everything over x to the 9th. Any questions on this? Any questions? So the bottom line here is this. this. So let me write it one more time. The absolute, so natural log of the absolute value of x prime equals 1 over x. Of course, x cannot be 0. Very good question. Thank you. I would have shown this in the next section, in the next chapter. But it's awesome that we looked at it right now. Next, anything else you would like to ask? Anything else? Anything else?